Hello, everybody. Monday on Astral Oracles. Thank you for being here. We are going to infinity and beyond. We are going to communicate with the 9D Sirians in a little while, and I'm going to get them to talk about setting your frequency and maintaining it, and also the nature of high frequency. I've been water fasting for the past 3 days, and I haven't done that before, and it is actually because I a lot of discomfort in my body that I sort of traced back to fundamental tensions in the organs, and then I realized I probably had to do this before I could get on with it, and I could, but I also realized that it brings a frequency rise that is automatically hard to contain, and I think that is seems to be a quality around high vibrational activity. So when you let your frequency rise, that it partially it brings out a lot of the discomfort to possibly be released and surrendered. But of course, it's also incredibly confrontational and uncomfortable in a lot of ways. But partially, it then also seems to confront us in a way where we are inclined to turn away, and so it's interesting to on a bodily level sort of register what are the impulses that really want to run away from this kind of weird heightening purification that's going on, and that's intense, and that seems to be a lot of the collective ascension too, that a lot of the heaviness and darkness and density that we have in the collective, both inherited and the new stuff that we create and put out there, that the challenge is, of course, that when we are confronted with other ways of being or having to relinquish that, there is a kind of panicky discomfort that arises, and where it's easier for us as societies, perhaps as individuals, also to make up stories about why it's right that things are wrong, and why it's somehow okay to turn away from this kind of searing light of awareness that wants to restore both the world and us individually. Um, because it's a lot to handle, and a lot to take in. So let's get some pointers from our friends in the upper realms regarding that. So much love to you out there, guys, and here are the ninth dimensional Syrians. Wasn't that a little intense? Darling humans, we are pleased to be with you this day. Stepping forward in personal guidance and linking these dimensional realms is personal counterpart to our vessel here, Unglungatok. Well, you can also just call me Ung or Ong if that is easier for you. But regardless, I am here representing the ninth dimensional Sirian Council. That is the collective awareness of our species as it resides in this high etheric layer of energy and interconnectedness. Here are the nodal points. Here are the things that have to connect for you. energy, and interconnectedness. And let us just say that you human beings, you have spent a lot of time getting better at one while neglecting and even dismantling the other. Can you guess which one we are referring to? That is, respectively, understand that you have grown much more capable of releasing, say, simply manifesting energy, bringing charge forward into the world, but conducting that energy remains very difficult for you. Notice, for instance, that in your technologies you have full capabilities to harvest sustainable energies, but you don't have the capacity to store it. This speaks to your current states as individuals and as collectives. So containing more of this energy is actually the question of containing awareness. And as it has been defined by us and by many other entities, understand that awareness is the spherical capacity to hold more of reality as counterpointed shapes within themselves. So this means more of the tension, more of the discrepancy that exists in reality is able to be contained within both the mental and the physical system. And this has to do with these structures being lined up and connected in a way where they conduct energy helpfully. So this is again the question that you'll notice on a material level, let's say on the level of your sciences of energy harvesting. Well, let us point to atomic energy also as something that you are very capable of releasing, but it is still difficult for you to deal with the dispensation of this energy. And so you have even learned to translate your material energy into systems of fluid exchange. You call this system currency. And see, this is also a brilliance of yours, but you often mistake the system for the thing that it represents. This happens on many levels. So we are even aware that often this point of money being energy is repeated. But money is not energy. Money represents energy and points to it in this symbolic link. And so that means that money is actually the structure of interconnectedness. Now notice that if this structure isn't flowing in a way where sufficient energy is being put into circuitry or simply recycled in the great flow of energy within the human collective, but it instead accumulates and then begins to stagnate, that is another sign of this type of interconnectedness being lacking. And you will find on a bodily level that this form of tension, this idea where one type of locked area, organ, limb of the body seems to supersede the others in attention and put itself forward as a type of disjointed element of the entire system of energy that is your body, the flowing system of energy, it is because this has become disconnected. It is not interconnected enough. So do you see how setting your frequency is partially setting these high frequency energies? But we know we are preaching to the choir here today if we were to instruct you on how important it is to do these things, because the vast majority of those listening to this message are already high wave frequency riders. So your challenges, they do not consist in you being disconnected or unable to reach this high emotional frequency, to reach this inner realization of truth. Your problem are the challenges of the world, the level of interconnectedness. You are able to attain these high states of energy, but the integration of them is indeed difficult. And a part of this, and the reason our friend here is brought here today, is the realization that there is in the physical world itself, in, for instance, foodstuffs, a type of resistance, a type of bringing you down from these high frequencies into the necessities of the world. For instances, the necessity of planting and harvest, this cycle of taking and bringing forward, which is karmic and difficult to handle. So the question becomes, indeed, how do you interconnect with the world? How do you exist in these circuitries of energy without either depleting yourself or superheating yourself? So can you learn to connect both with yourself, with others, and with the wider planetary structures in a way that is an open circuitry and is a managed circuitry rather than either a depletion or a supercharging? How do you go about this? Well, you build connectivity. And connectivity is again something that we are aiming at here, not in the abstract, but in the presence of physical experience. So this can be done in many ways, but a favorite of many people, an experience that is very rich for them to reach, is to find themselves in one of these induced high energy states. And this can even come about in what you may experience as sorrow or grief or feeling depressed or out of it, as long as you are in an opening where you are able and willing to release what you are holding on to. That is actually the things limiting you, this lack of interconnection, and then connecting to something else. So in this state, whether it be what you sense as positive, high vibing and open, or it is seeking, has the attitude of prayer, of seeking a deeper truth to reveal itself to you. Well, in this state, go out and connect with the trees. This is very beneficial. This experience of feeling that there is another energy field that is open, that is steady, and that is solid. that you can connect to. And if you begin to learn to connect to these frequencies of the world of the green, this frequency of plants in all their stationary wisdom, you will begin to also tap into their wider awareness. So they are also embedded in deeper interconnected structures. And these structures again are embedded within the wider planetary mainframe. So it's easier for you to start at these immovable levels, because where so many of you go wrong, if we may use that term, can't necessarily go wrong, but we will use the term that where many of you go wrong is that you tend to, when you come into these states, to seek the discharge or to seek to hide away from it. So you either go and put that energy almost frenetically into some outer circumstance, and often it will be somewhere that isn't conductive to the furthering of that energy in the world. So unless you've trained yourself to do this, you might very well find that this type of raising of frequency, it's simply dispersed and dispensed into the void of the world, where it is indeed voided, or you shy away from this vibration, not feeling you can hold it, and then you contain and condense and tighten up your system. And this is often then in relation to other human beings, that you will find that if you are confronted with others who have a high vibration, often it will either stir things that are unpleasant, so you may find yourself experiencing things or thinking things that you find are unusual or unhelpful. And that might be a sign that that person's high frequency is calling that out. But you may, and in that case, you may experience the need to shy away from that. But you may also experience the opposite, where you are the high vibrational individual and you feel like you want to help, it seems like, or lift up the spirits of this person, quite literally. And with that, you are actually transferring an energy that is both stirring to you, but is the more stirring and the more troublesome to the person that you are dumping it on. And so the way that they will have to solve that is to actually help you bring down your frequency. And they often do this with different, let's call them unconscious place of negativity. So it can be slights, dirty looks, seeking an aggression, or seeking somehow to bring everything down, focusing on a negative topic. And this is actually, on the spiritual level, something that many of you who are able to reach high energy states, you have taught yourself to do and you're comfortable with doing, because indeed, as these high energy states also provoke a lot of things within you and in other people, learning to hide them away or cast them away as pearls before swine are often strategies that have served you very well. And what you are finding in these searing awakening lights that you have stepped into, dear ones, is that that's not allowed for anymore. So we are aware that both our friend here and the people who avail themselves of this channeling service that moves through, well, all of you seem to have the common dilemma that this awakening path that you stepped into, it is also demanding more of you than you would expect it. You'd be able, ever be able to contain or deliver. And these are the higher frequencies. But just know that when you're building interconnection with more steady and stable realities, you are really truly benefiting yourself deeply and adding to the health and restoration, not only of yourself, but of the system at large. Because the more you become able to contain and sustain this energy, much as plant life, much as this stationary vitality that is the growth of trees and other organisms. Well, in this way, you also become this type of restorative factory that, in its apparent stillness, is making sure that the world is breathing and that the atmosphere is restored and renewed, so other, more hastened, more temporary life forms can also live and have their experience. So you're doing a great service when you learn to connect to these steady layers. And within yourself, you may ask, where is your inner forest? And what are the types of vegetation that you'll find there? Because all of you have steadiness within you. And that's not simply your spine or your ability to concentrate or your ability to sink into mindfulness or mindlessness. It is actually also these, let's call them fixed ideas, these steady beacons of fancy that guide you from within. And so all of you find when you step into this process of, it's sometimes called creation, but we prefer the term expression here. That means you giving shape to something that is within you, or you interacting with the world in a way where it is ordered according to the unseen laws of you in a negotiation with the world. When this expression is brought forward, you are building that interconnection and you are building a bridge where the energies of you are not dispersed but are put into greater temporal structures of awareness, and so helping humanity to see and connect more of itself with you, through you, and by you. So with that, dear human beings, we hope that was inspirational, instructional, and helpful. With our deepest love, our healing vibrations, and our illuminated starlight shining down upon you, guiding you, I, Unglungatok, and the rest of the ninth dimensional Sirian Council, I bid you farewell this day. Farewell, dearest human beings. Yes, I hope that served you guys. It was wonderful holding the vibration, and the sun came out here. Much love to you.